A lot of eyes are currently on Milan Momcilovic and his ability to knock down the outside shot, but I think that Mason Williams could end up being Kentucky basketball's best three-point shooter.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe. On today's episode of the show, we got more football talk from you, actually coming from Locked On SEC's Chris Gordy, who sat down with Kentucky offensive lineman Olaus Alinen. Really interesting conversation there about the Kentucky O-line, Alinen's transition from Bama to Lexington, and the expectations for the Cats this upcoming season. But first, we've got to get to the fact that Mason Williams is currently the best three-point shooter on this team. And I know a lot of people want to talk about Milan Momcilovic's ability to spray it, but as of right now in practice, Mason's your guy. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. Want to remind you guys we're free and available on all platforms. Subscribe wherever you are tuned in. Mark Pope went live on Instagram earlier today to just sort of drop for us a little Friday news that Mason Williams was leading the team in pre-practice three-point shooting. Here's the direct quote from Pope. "We have a shooting contest where we shoot 100 threes at the start of every practice, off the move, and catch and shoot. Right now, going into day 4, Mason Williams is leading, making 247 out of 300 threes at 82%. Second is Milan Momcilovic at 241 out of 300. He's down 6. Trent Noah is down 8. So now we're going to find out this week's shooting champ. We'll post the results later." Apparently, last week, Milan already came from behind and won on the last day of the shooting contest that they had last week. And Jai, also one of the recent collapses, apparently, because Pope said Mason is feeling all of the pressure, and Mason responded by saying, "I'm not Usman Njai." So implication there is that Njai has already blown a lead to Milan Momcilovic. But all of the conversation, I think rightfully so, this offseason has been on Milan Momcilovic and his ability to knock down the outside shot. He was a coin flip shooter at Iowa State, not just the efficiency, but he paired it with volume, 136 threes, the best shooter in the country, the best gravity guy in the country, the most impactful offensive weapon in the nation, according to Evan Mia and according to ESPN. He's the guy that everybody's going to be focused on this Kentucky roster. They added a 17-point per game scorer from Iowa State who can shoot. Of course, the national pundits are going to fall in love with what this Kentucky team does based on Momcilovic's performance. It does not need to go without saying or acknowledging that Mason Williams shot the lights out of the ball during his time with the EYBL Scholastic League. It was like 46%. It was something ridiculous. And I sat there and told you whenever Mason committed earlier this year that I didn't think that he was going to be able to maintain that efficiency at Kentucky, although I did think he was a really good shooter. Everything that we've seen from Mason, from the little bit of tape that we have, from the statistics here now, from the reports early in practice, indicates that Mason is not only a good player coming out of high school, he's capable of playing valuable minutes and contributing to this team right away. So everyone that doesn't really know about Mason Williams we need to start taking him seriously as a player that's going to contribute this year. And I understand that the ball is going to be in Diallo's hands a lot. The ball is going to be in Alex Wilkins' hands a lot. Shoot, Jerome Morton is going to get the opportunity to handle the rock a good bit. Mason's going to play. At 6'3", 210, he's got the size, he's got the ability to play in this league. And if he's going to be shooting like this, he absolutely deserves some playing time. He deserves more playing time than we would even expect from him if he's going to shoot 45% from deep, which is just ridiculous. Even I don't expect that. Let's say that he's a 38, 39, 40% three-point shooter, and whenever he gets in, he takes like a 3.5 a game. I would absolutely 100% take that production, especially if Diallo is having an off night, or if Wilkins is having an off night. At that point, with Williams and his size, play him off ball. Play him off ball. Run him at the 2. Let him be a spot up guy. If he's going to shoot 82% in practice and be this lethal after we've already seen him in actual meaningful games against quality competition shoot 45+% from deep, yeah, I'd play him. Absolutely, I'd play him. Obviously, Kentucky's got depth in their backcourt. Obviously, they've got a lot of guys that they can go to. Wilkins, Diallo, Morton, and of course, Williams. We need to sort of, I'm not telling you he's going to have a Reed Shepherd type trajectory because those players just don't come along that often where you expect him to be like the 10th guy in the rotation, then all of a sudden he pops off and we're clamoring for him to start just a few weeks into the schedule. But what I am sitting here telling you is that every single report, and I don't just mean like journalism report, I mean like every single bit of news that we have gotten from the time Mason committed to now indicates that he will play, and he will play legitimate minutes. I can't put a number on it, but what I can tell you is that he can shoot, he's got the size to play here, and he's got the want to and the drive. He wants to come out of Kentucky as one of the best players ever here. If he's going to shoot this well, you have to play him now. I'm excited to see what this backcourt looks like as a whole, and I'm really excited to see what Mason's development looks like. Hopefully we're able to hang on to him. If he does actually average somewhere between 5 to 7 points per game this season coming off the bench as a stabilizer for the Cavs. Really excited that we've got depth here that we can be confident in heading into the season. I want to get to Chris Gordy's conversation with Olaus Alinen. I've been pronouncing his name poorly, horribly even, this offseason. But I want to get to Alinen talking about this O-line, about his transition from Bama to Kentucky, and all of his thoughts on Big Blue Nation and the Big Blue Wall coming up this season. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you will think will hit a home run during their game. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before the first pitch. So if you're ready to play your game today, join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official betting partner of the MLB.
Joining us now, a guy who is hoping to suit up for the Kentucky Wildcats this season on that offensive line. He is a former transfer from Alabama, has been in the SEC the last handful of years. Now they're in Lexington, Kentucky. He is Olaus Alinen. I think I got that right. Olaus, did I get it right?
Yes, sir. You did.
Okay. I was stressing all day about how to get this right. Before we get started, man, you're from Finland. I'm a little cultured. I know a little bit about Finland. Educate me a little bit. What do we need to know about Finland, where you were born?
Yeah, it's a very small country in Northern Europe, so it's always really cold, especially compared to here, where I've been in SEC over the last 3 or so years. Very different climate, but it's very peaceful. Not a lot of people, so you really have some quiet and peace over there. And I'd say very big on nature as well. A lot of lakes, a lot of forest. Very beautiful country.
Do you like the heat in the SEC over the cold over there?
I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it to a certain degree. Maybe not like July and August probably aren't the best times of the year for me, but I think it's nicer to not have like pitch black darkness for like 6 months because we're so high up north. You don't really get a lot of sunlight during a few months of the year, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's and look, we're kind of crazy. If it gets to like 59, we're like, this is freezing. This is really cold. We're like bundling up. So it takes a little getting used to. That I was just doing some basic research on Finland. Let me know if is this stuff that Finland's known for? Saunas? Is that Finland? Y'all do a lot of saunas?
Yeah, we do. I think there's 6 million people. There's probably like 2 to 3 million saunas at least. So pretty much every house, every home has a sauna. It's a Finnish thing. So that's definitely one of our things.
Well, I'm on board with that. I like that. Northern Lights. Did you get to see Northern Lights a lot?
I have a couple of times, but they don't show up as much. I'm from southern Finland, so they're more common up north, but I've seen them a couple of times, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I've seen it 0 times, so you got me there. And then this was kind of ironic because they were a sponsor for many years on the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, but Nokia from Finland?
Yes, sir. Yeah. My parents actually just moved to a town called Nokia in Finland. They've been living there for the past year and a half now, so that's been pretty funny. Yeah.
That's cool. And then the last thing I saw, is this a real thing, boot throwing?
Yeah, I think it's like some kind of like competition people like to do, yeah. They also do one where they have a race where the men carry their wives. Like you race, it's like running, but it's just a little enhanced because you have to carry your wife while you're doing.
Well, you were educating us, Olaus. We are learning all about your culture here in SEC country. You were born in, is it Pori? Is that where you're from?
Yes, sir.
So Pori, Finland. Let's start there. You grew up in Finland. How did you? I know your dad played some NFL Europe. Was that kind of your first exposure to football?
Yeah, definitely through my dad. He played football, and it was always present in the family. But I did grow up playing hockey, like pretty much most Finnish kids did, hockey and soccer, which are like the 2 biggest sports, I will say. And then later on, just got into football through him, and him just always watching games, always being present at the house somehow. So that's kind of how I ended up playing football as well.
I couldn't imagine going up against you on an ice rink. Like like trying to check you into the glass. I don't think that would be a very good idea on my part.
Yeah, probably not. I miss it at times. It's pretty fun sport.
So you grew up there. I read you ended up coming over to the States, playing high school ball in Connecticut. You ended up being ranked the consensus #1 player in the state. But what was it like coming over and adapting to this football life in America?
It was definitely a big transition for me, but it ended up going really smoothly. My coach at the time at Loomis in Connecticut, Coach Jeff Moore, he was always a great resource, really helpful, helped me acclimate to the culture, and just always guiding me when it came to life and football. And that was very big for me. When I moved out, I was by myself, so I really needed some adult presence to kind of help me navigate through some of those things, and he was always there for me.
That's so crazy. So it's like out of a movie. You came over by yourself and chasing a dream over here, huh?
Yes, sir. I guess you could say that. It's the American dream.
We'll start writing the movie script now. So you mentioned your dad played for in NFL Europe, spent a year with the Falcons. Was that kind of like watching him play? Is that what kind of said, you know what, I might want to do this?
Yeah, it was definitely a big inspiration, and just seeing that he was able to do it, and having somebody like that from where I was from, and also a big role model of mine who had done something like that, really was like giving me the spark that I can definitely go far in this.
I read you 6'6", 329. Is that accurate? Is that about where you are right now?
Yeah, 329, 330, around there.
Whew. I got to imagine, I mean, being 16, 17, that side, I mean, you just assumed offensive line. I mean, you weren't trying to be a wide receiver or something, right?
Yeah, I never played anything else, really. I mean, like when I was younger, I played a little bit of D-line, D-tackle, but I was always really a true offensive lineman ever since I started playing football.
Yeah, that size, you almost have to. How different was adjusting to life in the United States versus in Finland?
I think it was a little different to go to a boarding school where in the middle of COVID, because that kind of mixed things up a little bit. It was pretty strict. I mean, it was tough with the travel and everything like that. So there was a lot of things we had to try to navigate through those times. But other than that, like, people were really welcoming always, and I found a lot of good friends. Like, I think it was easy to go into school because everybody knew I was coming there to play football, and people were very excited about that.
So when it was time to go to college, I read you were getting offers from a bunch of different places. Nowhere bigger than Alabama, getting recruited by a legend in Nick Saban. How did that end up, or how'd you end up on Alabama's radar?
Yeah, so when I had first came to States, I stayed after the spring semester. I stayed for the summer for a couple of weeks, and with the Gridiron Imports organization who do camps for a lot of European players. So we were doing a bunch of camps in the South, mostly like around Georgia. And then I think like they just had somebody from Alabama had texted them and said like that they should bring some of their guys for a camp at Alabama. So after my sophomore season, we went there, did 2 sessions of the camp, and just kind of started from there. Got to meet Coach Saban, and Coach Marone was the offensive line coach at the time, and they were saying that like once we see you play in the fall, like we'll be in touch if we like the film, because at that point I hadn't played actual like American football in the U.S. yet, so they were still keeping me in their radar from that camp.
Did you know Nick Saban was this legend and this big deal, or was he was just a guy to you?
Oh, yeah, I definitely did. It was funny because we had the guys from the Gridiron Imports at the camp, and they were like, when we were doing like drills and stuff, if Coach Saban was by, like they were trying to tell me like, quit looking at Coach, like try to just focus on your drill, because I was like, I'm really doing football drills in front of Coach Saban. Like, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
All right, before we continue our conversation, or Chris Cordy's conversation with Olaus Alinen, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. There are literally more live events than ever worth going to see right now. I'm talking games, I'm talking concerts, I'm talking comedy shows, I'm talking festivals. And the hard part at this point usually isn't deciding what you want to attend, where you want to go. It's actually getting the tickets here, right? Between long wait lines, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees, buying tickets can sometimes feel a lot harder than it should be. That's why so many fans are churning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simple. Upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive savings opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. I have said this for years now, and I will say it again. Game Time's the best. If you want to get tickets to college football games this upcoming season, if you want to get tickets to go see Kentucky at Kroger Field, Game Time's the place to go. If you want to get basketball tickets, Game Time's the place to go. If you want to go get concert tickets, Game Time's the place to go. Last night, I had dinner with somebody, and I literally told them, I use Game Time for literally everything. This is not a bit. Like, I actually would recommend Game Time to anybody and tell them, don't even look at any other places. Go to Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying your tickets to every type of event with Game Time. By downloading the Game Time app, creating an account, use code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
We'll continue our conversation with Olaus Alinen, of course, offensive lineman for Kentucky. We'll get to that in a minute, but I do want to talk about your time in Alabama. When you went to Alabama, you played in 4 games as a true freshman, 23, you redshirted, played in 13 games at 24, and then last season played with a lot of special teams so far, but you've gotten your chance to kind of plug in on the offensive line in different games. What did you, looking back, what did you learn most in your time at Alabama?
I think really from ever since that camp, one thing that always stuck out for me was how Coach Saban always harped on the standard and how you have to play a certain way, and nothing else matters except you playing to the standard. And I think that's something I've always carried with me ever since, that you do things a certain way, and there's a right way to do things, and the people who manage to do that will usually succeed very well.
I'm sure you played some tough teams when you were in high school at Connecticut, but getting into some games at this level, I mean, was it just a little bit different? You're like, oh, this is big boy football here?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely different. You go against some really good players every week, some massive, fast, athletic D linemen, and you really got to be on your A game every week to be able to compete in this league.
Yeah, it's not for the weak. You got to be tough to play in this league. So take me up to this offseason. You going into your junior season, you decide you want to make the move. You go into the transfer portal. What kind of attracted you about Kentucky?
Really like the relationship with the coaching staff. I always thought from the jump that Coach Cotter and Coach Stein, Coach Sloan, everybody really here who I talked to seemed really genuine. They seemed to have a very good plan for me as well when I was talking with different schools and how they see me fitting their scheme and their culture. And I think the culture they're bringing in here is really something that I'm excited to be part of. And just really going from there. But I think it was really the people, and I think they're a good staff that can help me get where I want to be in my football career.
Yeah, and look, there's optimism abound. Everybody's excited about Coach Stein. It's new. He's young. He's 36. Like coming in and taking over this program and being that offensive mind he was at Oregon. It's got a lot of folks excited to see what he's going to do. But what's been your interaction so far with Coach Stein been like?
It's been really good. I think he's a really energetic coach. He is involved a lot during practice. He brings a lot of juice. He has a great plan for every day, and he doesn't like wasting any time at all. So we maximize all our opportunities on the field constantly, and I think it's gotten our football team a lot better during the spring.
You mentioned Coach Cutter Leftwich, your O-line coach. He was at Oregon with Coach Stein. What do you like about him so far?
I think just how he interacts with his players. He coaches with a lot of detail. He teaches things very well and in a relatable way to us, but also there's a very strong relationship and he really, really cares about us. And you can definitely see that, but just in a way he interacts with us. But he's a really good O-line coach, and just seeing what they did with the run game in Oregon and the kind of players they've coached. And he was the run game coordinator there last year, and they had a really, really successful year running the football, which is great.
Yeah, I think his center a couple years ago won the Remington and then got drafted in the second round. So he's got a nice track record of coaching O-linemen and going on to do great things. What's it been like for you getting to know all these new players? Because you're new, but I think I counted close to 30 players coming over in the portal, and a lot of guys with SEC experience too. Guys coming from LSU, Tennessee, all over. But what's that been like with all these new faces around, trying to get to know everybody?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool experience. You know, you get to interact with people from different teams and you just get to share so many different stories. And you might have played some of these guys and never lost to LSU. And we have a D lineman from LSU. So that's always a good time as well when we get into that. But it's definitely a rewarding experience to just be able to create these bonds and work together and kind of figure out what works for each one of us and just building that team chemistry. But I think our O-line has come together really well as a unit. We have done a lot of things off the field and just bonded. And I think it's a really great group of young men.
Yeah, you mentioned the LSU guy, Ahmad Bro. I heard he was turning some heads this spring. That's a big guy to go up against.
Yes, sir. He's a good rusher. He plays with a lot of energy and he finishes every rep. So he's always going to give you his best shot.
So you guys, you had your blue-white spring game on Saturday. Fans got their chance to kind of see what this team's going to look like in 2026. I know, you had a handful of guys out with minor injuries just out of precaution, but what was that like just getting to be in front of fans for the first time this spring?
It was really cool. It's been a while now since we've been in front of the fans and just seeing the stadium in action for the first time as well. New experience to me. And also my dad was here for the spring game. So that was really awesome to have him in the stands and him having the opportunity to watch me play at the new stadium as well. So I think overall it was a very positive experience.
Did you get him? Does he have some blue and white gear yet? He's got to get some Kentucky gear, right?
Yes, sir. He does. He actually just landed basically a day before the spring game. So he was wearing some of my stuff, but I think we're going to have to get him squared away before he heads out.
There you go. Yeah, that's the one thing nobody talks about is you change schools. Family's got to load up on the gear. They got to support you with the new school colors.
I think that was one of his biggest concerns when we were thinking about this transition, how much stuff he has to replace now for blue and white.
Yeah, all Alabama stuff, give it away. We got to bring in some new stuff. Talk to me a little bit about your quarterback. Obviously, look, no starters named yet anywhere, but folks are excited about Kenny Minchie. You know, he was very highly touted at Notre Dame, and probably, was, if CJ Carr hadn't emerged, he was probably going to be the starter at Notre Dame this year, but he comes over to Kentucky and a lot of folks excited about him. We got to see some clips of him in the spring game on Saturday, but what have you seen out of Kenny so far?
Yeah, he's a really smart player and he's a really good leader. I enjoy spending a lot of time with him and just being able to get to know him and his story and what has brought him here. And I think he has very good ability to be a really good football player. He's very poised, and in like situations where we're under a lot of pressure, he has found a lot of times great ways to make plays when needed. And I think that's something you really enjoy having from a quarterback, especially from an O-line standpoint, from everybody in offense, really to have a guy who can create plays when they're needed. And that's something that's really popped up to me about him.
I kind of like the approach, Coach Stein, like saying, look, we're not naming any starters yet. This thing's wide open. We're going to go in the summer ball and figure all this out. So it kind of keeps you guys on your toes. Like you can't rest on your laurels. You got to bring it every day, and you got to still go out there and earn this thing as we get closer to the season, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's created a lot of competition, guys getting experiences in different positions, playing next to different people, and you never know what happens in football. I mean, you might end up needing to know how a certain person communicates on the O-line when things go wrong, and it's been really good experience. And I think everybody has taken a lot of steps forward because of that, because people can't get complacent at all.
When Olaus is not playing football, what are you doing?
Usually just hanging out. I don't really do that much outside of football, really. I mean, I like to watch movies sometimes and just relax, but I'm pretty much a football guy, so I usually try to do something related to football just because I like it so much.
What's the last movie you watched?
I watched, I think it was called Shot Caller. Watched it actually last night with my dad.
Okay. Shot Caller.
Yeah.
Who's in that?
I couldn't tell you the name of the actors.
I'll have to go look it up. Well, there's just a few more questions for you. What is your go-to Finnish dish for somebody who's never been to Finland? What do I have to eat if I go?
Yeah, we got a lot of different call it like these little grills in my hometown. They do it's kind of like you do fries, you do some like sausage, slice it up. You might have some relish on that, like some mayo, mustard, ketchup, and just kind of mix it all up together, and it's pretty good stuff.
I heard there's some kind of soup or something I got to have, right?
Yeah, fish soup, salmon soup. That's like probably like one of our most known dishes. It's pretty good. I tried to make it once here, but it wasn't as good as I guess you will have at home.
What about on the other side? What American food have you come to like since you've been here?
I mean, I really do like mac and cheese a lot. I enjoy barbecue too. I mean, you can't really go wrong with those type of foods.
Yeah, I think my wife will have mac and cheese just for dinner some nights. So it's you can never go wrong with mac and cheese.
No doubt.
How often do you get back home to visit at all?
Yeah, I usually go once a year during May.
And so I guess that's coming up, right? You get to go back home.
Yeah, I'll be able to go see my family for a little bit there, and then also my grandparents, because my family they can travel here at times, but you really don't get to see my grandparents other than when I go home visit them.
That's cool. Were they able to watch your games? What's the time difference like over there?
It's 7 hours, so it's a little tough, but I know at least my granddad has been over to our house a couple of times, especially when we have like those 11 a.m. or noon kickoffs. Those have been pretty good.
Yeah, that's funny. If you play at 11, we'll watch, but anything later, we'll
my dad does watch every game though. He'll go to bed at like 9 and wake up at 3 a.m. or whatever it takes. So he'll watch it, but the other family members might not always be up to that.
I love it. Yeah, it's a little too late there. Last thing for you, Olaus. I saw EA Sports, the video game, college football video game. I was looking at the video game from last year. There's a new one coming out in a few weeks, but they had you as a 75 overall last year's game. So what should your rating be in this year's game?
Well, I think I've definitely got a lot better from last year. So they will bump me up to 80 something in the beginning, but I would say I'll rather start a little lower and then let them update my ranking during the season once we get some good film put together and actually show what we've done here so far.
I love that. Play a little coy. We'll put you at 82 or 83, and then we'll kind of build up from there and really start to impress them. I like that approach.
Yes, sir.
Olaus, it's been great getting to meet you, man. Best of luck this season, and congrats on the move there to Kentucky, and go kill it. All right, this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Kentucky. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Subscribe if you have not already. You can follow the show on Twitter at LockedOnUK. Follow me on Twitter at @LanceDawe_, and follow the show over on Instagram. That is at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.